I think I'll ask, this is the only other item that we have today, and we got most of our ESCO members here because Professor Dr. Thye, who is the Executive Director of the Penang Institute, and of course who is in charge of drawing up the Penang paradigm, wants to make a statement. Please, Professor.
Thank you. Good morning. I am very happy to report to you that the Penang Institute will very shortly be presenting to the state and federal governments and to the people of Penang a comprehensive development agenda for the coming decade. This comprehensive development agenda is called the Penang Paradigm. After the Chinese New Year holidays, the Penang Institute will hold public consultations on the Penang Paradigm to get feedback from the people of Penang on how to improve the coverage, the analysis, and the policy agenda of what we have proposed. The public consultations will be held for 2 weeks on Penang Island and Seberang Perai simultaneously. There are 3 objectives to the Penang Paradigm. The 3 objectives are: number 1, to restore economic dynamism to Penang. The second objective is to improve the livability of Penang and the sustainability of its environment. The third objective is to accelerate Penang's social development to guarantee social harmony and to generate a strong sense of community. The key policies that the Penang Paradigm suggests are also applicable to the country as a whole. And we think, and it is important that the country as a whole adopts the policies of the Penang Paradigm so that the 3 processes I talk about are also initiated at the national level. The Penang Paradigm begins by diagnosing why Penang and Malaysia have been caught in the middle income trap in the last 15 years. The middle income trap refers to the phenomena where Malaysia is not closing the income gap between Malaysia and the rich countries. For the last 15 years, the gap between Malaysian income and the income-rich countries has stayed unchanged. So what we will do is first identify the factors that have put us in the middle income trap. And then we look at economic theory, we look at the experiences in the rest of the world, like Taiwan, Korea, and Latin America. And so we combine 3 things together: our diagnosis, economic theory, and international experience to come up with a development framework for Penang and Malaysia. And because of this framework, we are able to get operational principles on what policies to choose. My presentation will consist of 2 parts. In the first part, I will tell you the logic of our approach, the theory of why we do what we do. In the second part of the presentation, I will tell you about the specific policy actions that we recommend. So first, let me get to the part on why do we recommend what we recommend. As you all know, there are a number of other organizations that have proposed policy recommendations on how Penang should grow. Most of these recommendations by the other organizations suffer from a very severe analytical defect. They don't tell you what has been making Penang and Malaysia sick. They come up with the medicine without telling you what are the specific factors that have made Malaysia unable to catch up. So any doctor, when he gives you medicine, he must first identify to you what is the specific factors that are making you sick. And all these other recipes from the other organizations do not tell you what is making us sick. 可以这样说吧，一位医生开药方的时候，他必须先把那个病人的病说清楚。要是一个医生不知道这个病的来源，不知道这个病的具体的因素，他开的药方不会有效的。所以我刚才说，还有好几个其他的组织推荐了不同的政策，他们的政策的理论他没有说出来啊。基本上他们开的是一个平常的补药，这个平常的补药是补了不对的地方的，所以在我的想法，因为他们的药方是没有根据的，就必会使得病成那个病。So what we do is we start off with the most basic idea. How does economic growth happens? 3 things must be there. If you miss any one of the 3, growth cannot go on for a long time. The first thing is to have growth, you got to have new ideas. New ideas on what to do, new methods of implementation. The second thing you must have is private investment, because the private investment is what that will make sure that what is being proposed is done efficiently and effectively. The third thing that must happen is there must be public infrastructure. There is soft infrastructure, which is that like a civil service that is not corrupt. A civil service that is able to come up with progressive social programs that will empower the disadvantaged with the means to be upwardly mobile. The second type of infrastructure is hard infrastructure. For example, low-cost, high-speed broadband and a low-cost, comprehensive, rapid mass transit system. So now I've told you we need 3 things: ideas, private investment, public infrastructure. Now I tell you what has Malaysia been doing wrong such that we are not producing growth. There are 3 sets of policies that is making Penang sick and Malaysia sick. The first set of policies is that since the mid-1980s, there has been a steady tightening of race-based socio-economic policies. The second set of policies that's making us sick is that over time there has been growing over-centralization of decision-making power at the federal level. And the third set of policies that's making us sick is that over time there's been increasingly non-transparency in the operations of the federal government. So how do these 3 sets of policies affect the 3 factors I talk about? The social-economic policies that allow abuse have generated brain drain and generated capital flight. Brain drain means the ideas is not generating fast enough. Capital flight means that our private sector is not making the investments that are needed. So this is what happened to the socio-economic policies. What does over-centralization do? Over-centralization means the state government cannot go out and borrow money to build hard infrastructure. Even if the state government can have the money to build the hard infrastructure, the state government still needs the permission of the federal government to build it. Like for example, the runway in Penang has been too short for the last 20 years. The Penang state government has been asking to extend that runway for the past 20 years. You know that even if the state government comes up with the money to build it, they still need permission from the federal government to build it. Pulau Langkawi has a longer, broader runway than Penang. So we cannot bring in real high, large quantity of tourists from Europe on chartered flights. They have to go to Pulau Langkawi, they cannot come to Penang. So what happens when you have over-centralization? Shortage of hard infrastructure outside of Putrajaya and Kuala Lumpur. All the traffic congestion we see in Penang and the bad linkage between the mainland and the island comes from over-centralization of power at the federal level. Now the third thing, the increasingly non-transparent nature of federal operations. Like for example, federal projects are not open, do not have open tender. You don't know how the decisions are made. When a government is not transparent, it means that it can make mistakes and not be accountable for it. So that is why we have the case of Yusof Chin ruling back around 10 years ago that it is okay to sell stolen property. So it is because of increasingly non-transparency. So because of these three set of policies, since 2008, the Penang state government has been doing three main things. The first thing is the Penang state government has been replacing crony capitalism with fair competition. For example, there's open tender. And the state government has been trying to reduce over-centralization by asking that local council elections be held. And it's trying to, the third thing that this state government has been doing is reducing the lack of transparency by enacting open tender system. We know that lots of these negative effects have not been seen on Malaysia, because before 2000, Malaysia seems to be growing very well. The reason is because up until then, globalization has not hit Malaysia in a big way. What is globalization? Globalization means that a lot of the foreign direct investment that used to come to Penang now go towards Indonesia and China. So Malaysia's share of world FDI has gone down. And this is why we are beginning to get sick. So globalization has made the policies, the federal policies of the past, ineffective. And the other thing is that after so many years of bad management, the GLCs and the federal government do not have the financial power to do big projects on the scale they used to do before. The big projects like Putrajaya, KL Isle, and all the various highways has been what has been keeping the country moving. Now, we don't have that financial resources anymore. The current economic transformation program may make the growth rate in 2013 higher. In our GDP growth rate in 2013 will be higher than 2012. But that will be temporary, largely because it's using GLC and government investment to increase investment. There are no new ideas, there's no real increase in private investment. So the cure that we are proposing in the second part of this presentation is that we see that for Penang to move forward and for Malaysia to move forward, we have to have a more balanced kind of development. More balanced means that economic dynamism, livability, and third, social harmony. Only if we have all three can our growth and development move on in a sustained manner. And so quite naturally, the Penang paradigm proposes concrete programs to do three things. The first is to strengthen the creation of creative ideas in Penang. The second is a group of policy initiatives to boost private investment in Penang in high-tech green manufacturing industries and high-value modern industries. And the third is to upgrade public services in hard and soft infrastructure. So if there is one word to describe what we are trying to do, we are trying to generate knowledge-led growth of the state. And in order to have knowledge-led growth, we have to greatly improve the generation of good ideas. So we need, number one, to enhance human capital formation, and we enhance it by making all Penang people able to reach their maximum intellectual potential. And we do that by first wiping out poverty, so that all families can afford to send their children to schools to receive the education in order to reach the maximum intellectual potential. And the second thing that state has started is giving direct allocations to the schools so that they can upgrade themselves in different dimensions. The second thing that the state will do even more is to put in programs to retain human talent in Penang and to attract human talent from elsewhere. And that can be done through 4 sets of measures. First, we will continue the practice of meritocracy, accelerate the growth of high-wage industries, improve the livability of Penang, and number 4, guarantee the social harmony within Penang. The outcome for Penang from the implementation of the Penang paradigm is that Penang will become an international and intelligent state. I hope that Malaysia will adopt the same programs so that we can have an international and intelligent country to go along with the intelligent and international state of Penang. Thank you very much.
Any questions?
Yeah, from when are we expecting this report?
The report will be put up for public consultations on February 23rd.
Okay.
In other words, because we cannot come up with the full report until we get guidance from the public. So we are going to have the main ideas, the main focus will be on the public display on February 23rd.
So this is for 2 weeks, right?
For 2 weeks, yeah.
Okay. Then after that,
After that, we will take into account what people have suggested, and we will integrate as best as we can into the final report for the consideration of the state government. So this will be an effort undertaken. So we will come up with suggestions, and the state will pick the parts that it consider.
So this final report, will it be made public?
Of course,
Yeah.
it will be available on the website, better than on public. We'll put it on the website so that the display that will also be made available on the website, so that people who cannot come to the centers on the island and in Seberang Pride can access it online and give us feedback online.
And then the groups that you want to talk to, have you identified them? Like what categories they are?
We will certainly send out invitations to all the different groups in Penang, like for example, the Chamber of Commerce, the various NGOs, the organizations that are concerned about sustainable development, social progress. We'll reach out to the entire Penang society, and and we'll be very pleased if you would let us know about what groups we must definitely keep in mind to reach out to. Because you know that other organizations have come up with other programs. First, they don't tell you what is wrong. In other words, they promise to build you a beautiful castle up on the hill. But they don't tell you what kind of soil the hill has. So how can you build a castle without knowing what the soil condition of the hill is? And then, these recommendations are not put forward after consultation with the public. We think that Penang people know a lot of what they want. And what they want us to do is to try implement and come up with versions that is closer to their aspirations.
I was just wondering how you're going to make it accessible to the public, because if you're just going to put it up, what you're going to put it up in Gomta?
We will put up in the two places we are going to put up. One is in Town Hall
Because
on the island,
yeah,
and it's also available on the net.
sometimes people are not so proactive. They go in, they read, but they may not respond. Yeah.
Just by the ordinary people. So
Yeah.
is it possible
You
for
say
the
put on
Adun
net.
to go down?
You say you're going to put it on the net.
Yeah, I know. But is it possible for the Adun to go down to the constituency?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because
we
they
will
won't
be-
go and read, and then it's maybe too complicated, or too
Oh, it will not be complicated because we have taken great care to make sure that people with a secondary school education would be able to, whatever words that they don't know, the dictionary will be able to explain it, and the need to look for a dictionary
Yeah.
would not be.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't mean it's
I don't mean
Accessible.
that. What I'm meaning is that wouldn't it be better to get maybe like he said the aduns or the representatives of public to go actually and talk to people, because people are not really very proactive to respond to things like that.
That's a very good
Yeah,
suggestion.
it won't reach out too much. If you're just going to put it up on the web or going to put it up on the board, people are not really that. Unless you say you got lucky draw of free food, then maybe people will,
Or
which-
Gangnam Dance.
yeah. The best recommendation will get something. People will go, really what? This is the public.
That's a very good suggestion.
Yeah.
We will certainly think about it
We will
and see
publicize as
how.
much as we can, but at the end of the day, we cannot force people to come.
Yeah,
and
but
read also
maybe
lah.
proactive lah, something proactive. You go and reach out to people actually,
Through Malaysia, sini.
Well, for example, I will be talking to the business community on March 8th at a forum called the CEO Speaks. I will use the opportunity to talk about the new program that we are launching. So at least the business community will have a chance.
If I can just add, actually the launch event, Professor Wu will do a presentation to actually explain. So that's also part of the explanation.
Your voice came back. Sound very
Very bad.
sound very good.
Yeah, that's the other suggestions. I'll be very pleased to, because I want people to read. If you come up with ways, we will try to do it.
And then you talk about eliminating poverty. So of course you have to go down to the group who are affected.
Yes.
So how are you going to do that?
Oh, we have very specific measures.
Okay, so how many people are working on this team?
The entire institute has been mobilized, and people and specialists outside of the institute have also been consulted. I would say the number of people working on it would easily exceed 30. We have been working at it for almost quite a long time now, because we have to look at international experiences, and we have to identify specifically why Malaysia is not catching up. If there is one word I would like you to use in reporting this is, why is Malaysia not catching up? Catching up. We want to catch up and be with the best performing countries in the world. We want to be among the best in economic performance, in livability, and in social harmony.
We are best in other things.
Well, we are very good in capital flight. We are the second largest amount of capital flight in the world. That is not something we're very proud of.